So, I'm going to be doing a video that was kind of on my mind, even though, yeah, I'm still battling through the Rona. I feel like garbage, thanks, Raz, if in case you're wondering. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to do this video because it was on my mind as of late, and I really want to get everyone's opinion on this. And the question is, as you can see from the title, is Odalia worse than Ozai? Odalia Blight from, of course, Owl House. And it's just been kind of on my mind, and I thought it would be an interesting subject to really talk about, in that Odalia is a new level, I think, of monster in terms of parenting. Now, you could be already saying, well, Ozai is obviously awful. He burned his own child. He manipulated Azula against Zuko, and also tried to commit mass genocide. In fact, he's part of a family part of racist assholes. And yes, that is true, but look at what I think that's a little thing of, yeah, you could make the argument that Ozai is a very real villain in that, there are kind of a racist, abusive parents out there and will turn their children against each other. But Odalia just feels a little more real to me. And this is going to sound odd, but I think Odalia is just kind of like, on a realistic level, I think is objectively worse on so many levels. Because I think that Odalia is just kind of another level of cruelty that you see more so in the real world. It could even be someone you know, or a relationship you had with a parent or family member that is like this. Trust me, I have, not to go too much into detail, but I have family members who borderline Odalia level of manipulative towards their parents, and I've had friends who are Odalia levels of parenting, and probably that's what's kind of like driving me to think on this. And I don't know what it is, but I always felt like the people who enable tyrants are just as bad, and even to a level worse, because they know what they're doing is wrong and they still do it. Remember, Odalia was basically allowing mass genocide to happen and helping Belos to do it. And yeah, that's the same thing of like having the Nazi Party enable Hitler to slaughter thousands of people and commit horrendous war crimes. Or, I could go back to a recent point in time. I'd say about last year, sometime in January. Yeah. It's also to point out that Odalia doesn't seem to care about any of her children, much like Ozai, but it's more about lineage and, having a legacy to some of them. Whereas Ozai at least needed Azula to be the next Fire Lord and be his legacy. Odalia seemed like, at the end, it just kind of seemed like she was like, alright, I can just start a new family or something of that nature. It's kind of a scary thought when business is kind of a person's life. It's a scary thought when you think that, the world itself can be scarier, in that, there's people out there who will literally step on their own family or use them as bargaining chips to get into higher places of society. And what sucks more is that that's a real thing. Like, that is a real thing we see in real life. Like, we talk about, like, lifestyles, the rich and the famous, but, like, do you know how, like, unhappy that most of those families are, or how, like, they pit one family against one another? Hell, there's even reality TV shows that do the same thing, and we watch it and we relish in it. And honestly, what does that say about us as a society? But that's a discussion for another time. Yeah. It's really why it kind of gets under my skin more than Ozai's, because Odalia, like I've been saying through this whole video, is Odalia feels real. Like, that's... And I don't know if, like, Dana was pulling from real life or just kind of, like, real experiences, because it felt like she was kind of trying to say something with all of that. And I don't know if any of that was true, if any of that is true, but that's her business, not mine. And the other, like, the sheer fact that she was trying to willingly help kill thousands of people rather than have that be her mantra. Like, that's more horrifying than you could imagine, because if you're willingly doing this and not believing the rhetoric, I think you are worse. When you are just doing this for, like, gain, political gain, or monetary gain, or something of that, if you're just doing this for yourself, I think that's... I don't know if that'd be... Well, I take that back. I don't know if that'd be subjectively worse, but you are every bit as a monster as the person you are supporting, because you are feeding that monster. You are enabling that monster and his or her actions. Whether it be genocide or turning them against their own country. It's horrifying. Like, it's horrifying. And you could make the argument, well, Ozai had, like, generals and whatnot who were supporting him. Yeah, he had military advisors supporting his every move that were brainwashed into this, and some of them are willingly evil. Over hundreds of years... over 100 years of kind of this military doctrine and, like, dictatorship for, that they're the superior race. And Odalia is just kind of like, she doesn't have that. She's just trying to get into a position of power and will step on her own family, her own husband, to get to that point. Like, she even said her own marriage was like a partnership, nothing more. That's a level of low. And again, you could make the argument, well, Ozai just married Ursa to create, a superior form of firebender through Zuko and Azula. And that's also awful. It's a tough question. Like, it is a tough question, and that's why I wanted to do this video, because I'm quite curious to see what everyone else says about this this subject, because it's just been on my mind. And like, Ozai, I think for me was like, it's almost to a cartoon level of evil, but at the same time you can't ignore what he did. Odalia, on the other hand, just feels like real, like actually real, and maybe it's just me who's encountered people like that in my life that just kind of made me go on this train of thought. So it's just like maybe it's more like I've encountered people like this, whether it be my own family or friends' family, that have done this to friends and family members, that it's just kind of that train of thought that helped me get to that point. But I am curious to see what everyone else's opinions are in this matter. So yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below, who do you think is worse? Do you think Odalia is worse, or do you think Ozai is worse? And yes, the easy cop-out is, yeah, and let's be real, Ozai is a I'm talking, and actually let me be a little more clear. I'm talking in terms of like parenting. Like, just parenting alone. I should have prefaced that from the beginning. Obviously, Ozai trying to commit mass genocide on the Earth Kingdom is objectively worse. But I'm talking in terms of, like, parenthood, as well as gains and whatnot. I should have prefaced that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm dealing with a fucking virus that is killed. Like, it's fucking killing me, man. I'm so, like, I should have prefaced that from the beginning, but I'm just super sick right now, and I should have put a little more thought into this. But it was nagging at my mind, and if it's one thing I hate, it's being sick and restless. That's not a good combination. I'm pretty sure some of you guys could agree that too. Anyway, so once again, you guys just comment below, let me know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. See you next time in the Multiverse. And as always, if you haven't already, hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon for some exclusive content. And if you hit the 4th tier, you can send me videos to do here on YouTube. Anyway, like I said, I'm Mr. Multiverse, so I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.